The One-Legged Woman, A Story of Pain. Without warning, Alfredo raised the machete, and with chilling coldness, began brutally striking Fermina. Each blow resounded cruelly against her body, like the pounding of a drum in the darkness, strong and relentless. Fermina screamed, her cries of pain piercing the afternoon, while her body twisted desperately, trying to escape the merciless grip of her furious attacker. There was no mercy in Alfredo's eyes, only a visceral blindness that seemed to fuel each blow he delivered. Fermina, defenseless, fought for her life in the midst of that hell. He held her tightly with one hand, as though she were prey he had no intention of releasing. As he struck her again and again, the force of the blows made Fermina spin, struggling in vain to free herself from her brutal punishment. Alfredo followed her movements with each strike, never letting go, ensuring she had no chance to escape. With every fall of the machete on the poor woman's body, a macabre symphony of screams, tears, pain, despair, and desolation mixed into a terrifying and sorrowful sound. The dance of torment was not only accompanied by blows but also by a torrent of insults that poured from Alfredo's mouth, a volcanic eruption of obscenities that drowned any trace of solace in a sea of sorrow and anguish. He constantly accused her, branding her a loose woman, claiming she cavorted with any man who gave her attention. He blamed her for betraying him every time he left for work, convinced that as soon as he walked out the door, she would sneak away to indulge in debauchery. His words were sharp, dripping with venom and reproach, as though each accusation were a dagger meant to pierce deeper into Fermina's dignity. These acts of cruelty often erupted when he returned from work or after drinking copious amounts of chicha with his friends. The alcohol seemed to ignite a dark spark in his mind, clouding his judgment until he lost all control. It was during these moments of blind, unchecked fury that he unleashed his violence, turning Fermina's life into a recurring nightmare, a constant state of unease. One evening, as Alfredo returned from a binge, not entirely drunk, he began flogging his defenseless wife once more. Desperate, consumed by rage and pain, Fermina grabbed what she thought was a knife to defend herself. Upon seeing the glint in her hand, Alfredo, overcome with panic, began running wildly around the yard, leaping over stacks of wood piled nearby. The scene was so absurd that Fermina, amidst fits of laughter, shouted, "So much for being a man, and you're scared of a candle." For what she held was no knife but a simple wax candle. The laughter of Fermina, joined by the chuckles of neighbors peeking out to witness the spectacle, was too much for Alfredo's pride. Humiliated and his face burning with shame, he turned around, his fury renewed. He lunged at Fermina with ferocious rage, unleashing brutal blows upon her, as if every laugh had transformed into an invisible whip lashing at him. The humor of the situation vanished, leaving behind only the black stain of cruelty hanging over the poor woman. One Sunday afternoon, the cruel cycle of beatings repeated itself, but this time Fermina managed to escape Alfredo's grasp. Desperate and reckless, he swung the machete for another strike. In his rage, he misjudged and delivered a fatal cut to her leg. Fermina collapsed to the ground, blood pouring rapidly from the wound, and within minutes, her life slipped away amidst muffled screams and an expanding pool of blood. Days later, rumors spread through the town like wildfire. Fermina's ghost appeared night after night, haunting Alfredo. She gave him no respite, tormenting him with a presence both ethereal and terrifying. It was said that Alfredo, unable to endure Fermina's spectral vengeance, fled one night in a desperate attempt to escape her shadow. In his frenzy, he failed to notice the slope ahead, tumbling down to his death at the foot of the hill. Since then, Fermina's spirit, still laden with pain and rage, roams the area like a cursed shadow. She is known as the One-Legged Woman, her name whispered with fear as a warning among the locals. She appears to men as a haunting beauty, seducing them with her ghostly allure. But in the blink of an eye, her true form emerges, a mutilated body, her face twisted by suffering, exactly as she was left in life. Those who see her are paralyzed with terror, their screams choked in their throats, as Fermina revels in their fear, seeking vengeance for the torments she endured. Her laughter, an icy echo, reverberates through the darkness, a harbinger of horror that still lingers on lonely paths, waiting to exact her revenge. Her shadow, limping and menacing, continues to haunt the twilight. And so the story ends, but the magic of storytelling never fades. Stay tuned for more stories that will transport you to new worlds and ignite your imagination. Don't hesitate to like and subscribe to our channel for more stories like this.